Hey there, fellow adventurers. Ever tried to take a flight without a plane? Well, let me introduce you to Abbas ibn Firnas. Basically, the original I believe I can fly in 9th century. Picture this. A dude in Al-Andalus watching birds soar through the sky and thinking, I can do that. I mean, who needs a pilot's license when you have got wings made of silk and wood? Today, we are diving into the history of the world's first flying machine, crafted by none other than our ambitious friend Abbas, who definitely did not read how to fly safely, manual. Spoiler alert, his first flight did not exactly go as planned, so buckle up because this journey through history is going to take you up and away, or at least attempt to. Full name of this person, Abu Qasim Abbas ibn Firnas ibn Wardas al-Takurini. Abbas bin Firnas was an Al-andulus Polymath, an inventor, astronomer, physician, chemistry, engineer, and Arabic language poet. He was reported to have experimented with unpowered flight. Ibn Firnas made various contributions in the field of astronomy and engineering. He constructed a device which indicates the motion of the planets and stars in the universe. In addition, Ibn Firnas came up with a procedure to manufacture colorless glass and made magnifying lenses for reading, which were known as reading stones. Abbas ibn Firnas was born in Ronda province and lived in Cordoba. His ancestors participated in the Muslim conquest of Spain. Again, his full name was Abu Qasim Abbas ibn Firnas ibn Wardas. Though he is better known as Abbas ibn Firnas, there is a very little biographical information on him. While the majority of sources describe him as Umayyad Mawla, some sources describe him as Arab. Abbas ibn Firnas devised a means of manufacturing colorless glass, invented various glass planisphers, made corrective lenses, devised a chain of things that could be used to stimulate the motion of planets and stars, and developed a process of cutting rock crystal that allowed Al-Andalus to cease exporting quartz to Egypt to be cut. He introduced to a second hand to Al-Andalus, which had important influence on astronomy in Europe. He also designed the Al-Maqata, a water clock, and a prototype for a kind of metronome. Al-Makari is said to have used it in his history works. Many early sources no longer extant, but in the case of Ibn Firnas, he doesn't cite his sources for the details of the repeated flight, though he doesn't claim that one verse in a 9th century Arabus is actually an allusion to Ibn Firnas' flight. The book was written by Mu'min ibn Sa'id, court boot of Cordoba under Muhammad, Amir of the Emirat of Cordoba, who was acquainted with unusually critical of Ibn Firnas. The pertinent verse runs, he flew faster than the phoenix in his flight when he dressed his body in the feathers of vulture. No other surviving sources refer to the event. It has been suggested that Ibn Firnas' attempt at glider flight may have inspired the attempt by Aylmer of Malmesbury between 1000 and 1010 in England, but there is no evidence supporting this hypothesis. According to some secondary sources, about 20 years before Firnas attempted to fly, he witnessed a man named Armin Ferman wrap himself in a loose cloak, stiffened with wooden struts, and jump from a tower in Cordoba, intending to use the garment as wings on which he could glide. The alleged attempt at flight was unsuccessful, but the garment slowed his fall enough that he sustained only minor injuries. However, other secondary sources that deal exhaustively with Ibn Firnas' flight attempt to make no references at all to Armin Ferman. Al-Makari's account of Ibn Firnas being the sole primary source of the flight story makes no mention of Ferman, since Ferman's jump is said to have been Ibn Firnas' source of inspiration. The lack of any mention of Ferman in Al-Makari accounts may point to synthesis. The tower jump later confused with Ibn Firnas' gliding attempt in secondary writings. In fact, it's likely that Armin Ferman is simply the Latinized name of Abbas ibn Firnas, In 1973, statue of Ibn Firnas by the sculptor Badri al-Samurai was installed at Baghdad International Airport in Iraq. 1976, the International Astronomical Union (AIU) approved of naming crater on the moon after him as Ibn Firnas. In 2011, one of the bridges going over the Guadal River in Cordoba, Spain, was named the name Abbas ibn Firnas Bridge. A British one Plan Airlines, Firnas Airways, was also named after him.